clear favorite and a clear underdog to be starting off this series, but it all gets a little muddy on the first map of Pearl, and in the end, Winthrop University to take down their map pick 13-10. So, Roy, we're either having the big upset or getting the three-map series, but either way, I am pumped with how the series started off. Winthrop looking good.
They looked phenomenal on so many different levels. But Sierra, I think there's a new potential theory that is brewing in my head here. The underdog playoff theory, perhaps? Perchance?
Perchance? Elaborate. What is this theory? Like, it didn't fully come through yesterday.
Yeah, it's like Sozin's comments coming by, and all the underdogs are just getting superpowers playing this matchup. So it's looking really good. They look fired up. There's no hesitation in the way they're playing. They're hitting their shots. They're calling well. It's just looking nice for Winthrop right now.
I mean, that work, the reps that they put in, I think that they've been looking better than ever. And on the opposing end of things, TSM, this was a decently close map, Ash. This was 6-6 at the half. It was also a TSM to win both of their pistol rounds. But in these big pivotal rounds, it was Winthrop University to find that upper hand.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy to consider the fact that, honestly, I feel like this map low-key almost felt only close because of those pistol rounds that you were mentioning that TSM were able to take away. Otherwise, in that first half, that was 5 rounds in a row, or actually, no, 6 rounds in a row that Winthrop was able to find right after the anti-eco coming out from TSM. And it's just insane to consider how good they look on Pearl. When you look at, the last time these two teams faced off, it was a very different story. We didn't get to see them up against each other on this particular map, but it was a very dominant win last time from TSM, and Winthrop look like they're really coming into their own.
It's a very, very different game than when these first two teams met head-to-head in that Swiss Week 1, which I'm really excited for. I think that really highlights that journey that Winthrop University has been through. But for TSM, there's the questions. Is it just same thing as yesterday with a couple of our teams, Roy? Is it just kind of shaking off that rust, or what's going on?
Listen, I would love to sip a little bit on that. It's getting the rust off copium that we're going through, but the stats don't lie. 14 first kills for Winthrop University against the team that we have highlighted as one of the highest first engagement team in the league. I mean, there's really just are no excuses. I feel like Winthrop University did not fluke their way into this win. They played very well. They had very clear win conditions, and I think overall they came pretty strong.
I mean, you're talking about not being a fluke in that work that they've put in, and someone that I don't even know if we even got the opportunity in the pre-show to talk about, but we definitely did highlight in the green room was Nasi here, Ash. Someone that throughout for this team has been super, super solid. Even if the stats don't necessarily show it in comparison to some of the other ones, the impact in other ways has been instrumental.
Yeah, top of day, Roy was talking about how great of a caller he has been for Winthrop, how great of a leader in and outside of the server that he's been, and a good teammate. And you even see just, I think what was really important for the likes of Winthrop was Nasi's utility usage was great as far as, being interchangeable sometimes depending on positioning with Flare, but for setting up Infiltrator on a lot of those deep lines when that op finally got into his hands, that was shutting it down a lot of first engagements. I know that we don't have that scoreboard up anymore, but I do also want to give like a quick kudos over to Moves as well. I think that he was a really important part in shutting down Sim in a lot of these initial engagements to open up a lot of those rounds, and that's why we saw that difference in first bloods for either team.
Yeah, I mean, bro was literally tied with Infiltrator on the five first bloods. Infiltrator had 5 and Moobs had the other 5 on the Sentinel role, right? We talk a lot about the sort of the contrast of duelists and sentinels, right? Like they're both technically entry fraggers if you think about it, and they're both sort of anchory kind of playstyles. And I think the fact that both of these players are popping off simultaneously on opposite sides of the map is a massive buff to the Winthrop University roster.
And something that you highlighted, Ash, was how Nasi with this util was able to set up Infiltrator, and diving a little bit deeper in Infiltrator's performance and Flare, who also put up a really strong one. That impact in the teamwork that Winthrop University had, Infiltrator was pointed out as a big piece of this puzzle to start off the series, and we really got to see that come through.
Yeah, and to give you guys an idea of why we're highlighting both of these players, even though we were just talking about how Nasi was doing really well for setting up Infiltrator, who, again, we have to give him his flowers with this head-to-head up against Sim. That's where everyone's eyes were when you considered Sim's success, his experience as an opener for TSM and Infiltrator absolutely stepping up to the plate. And then you also have to look towards Flair, even though not necessarily always next to Infiltrator looking to set him up. I think his impact, especially in a lot of these late round situations, was massive. Being able to close out these rounds and clutch things up for his team was absolutely massive, with how we were watching him actually close that down for the side of Winthrop.
Yeah, and another thing to keep in mind for Flair as well is he only had 11 deaths in 24 rounds.
Yeah.
That just goes to, support your statement that he had so much impact in the late rounds, because whenever he was alive in those situations, he was either closing out the round or he had massive impact on the executes, using utility to counter, slowing down the pace of TSM, interrupting a lot of their gameplays, using drone when it was crucial. So I completely agree. I think Flair was definitely a key aspect. But I would like to just re-highlight Infiltrator, because 24 kills against a team that is so strong like TSM is a no joke.
Yeah, and now we have to talk about the implications of that going into the rest of the series. Of course, we are headed into TSM's map pick. So if we are assuming we're going to win our map pick, then that's all fine and dandy. And we're going to Bind. So what's doubly interested for Bind, in my opinion, is Winthrop University and TSM have played on this map. When we are looking at this head-to-head of this team, this is going to be a rematch of the week one. And TSM wiped the floor with Winthrop University. Yeah, but this is also a different Winthrop University on the day, and one that looked a little cleaner than TSM.
Actually, another thing to keep in mind for Winthrop University is that Bind match against TSM was one of their only losses on that map. They've actually played this map quite a few times. They have 5 officials on Bind. Obviously, not all these officials are in VCL. Some of them are in the collegiate leagues or like third-party tier 3 tournaments, but they're still 4-1 on the map. It still is a good map for Winthrop University. It's not like it's a counter pick from TSM's end. So I think this second map's going to be really weird.
Heading into the agent select, we'll have to see if this is going to be an exact run back of the last time these two teams faced, or where the adjustments coming on through. And looking at this quickly, Winthrop University, they're not looking to be 13-1 again. They're not having the same run back. We got to switch up with duelists and a lot more here, Ash.
Yeah, these are massive changes coming out from the side of Winthrop. Obviously, staying true to the fact that Flair and Ali have swapped those roles going forward, but Infiltrator previously has been consistently running the Rays on this map. And then you've also got just the adjustments in having the double recon-esque, I guess. You do have the drone within the Teo, but there is a lot more like space clearing with that Teo pick coming in, which is very different from the double controller setup that they had been running previously on this map. I like this for Winthrop. I think it gives them a lot more space clearance and a lot more control of the map as far as information goes.
Yeah, I think Tejo absolutely fills like the explosives gap, right? Being able to pressure corners, being able to pressure positions, and combine that with Yoru's, surprise, teleports onto site, bypassing a lot of the deadlock util that both teams have. I think this is going to be a pretty explosive match, guys.
Let's not wait any longer to get into it. It's time for Bind to see if Winthrop can, in fact, get what would be the biggest upset here in our playoffs, or if TSM can take their map pick and take us to a map 3. Back over to your casters now. It's Tenric and Shift.
Yeah, this feels a lot more meta-aligned with like an asterisk, I suppose you could say, if you are looking at this from the side of Winthrop, whereas for TSM, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think the curiosity point here, though, is largely, in my mind, down to what are we going to get between the Yoru and the Rays, because Rays has been a staple here for so long. Yoru, of course, is popping up in the meta very oddly enough, I think, across every single map. So that's the big difference maker in my mind. There's also the level of, like, suppression isn't as much of a thing for Winthrop. It's more about zone of control when it comes to initiating, whereas, for TSM, it's about, again, that burst play, fault line, flash, blast pack in. So we'll see what we get, I think, out of the identities of both these two teams.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I'm really surprised by Infiltrator's decision to go for the Yoru. He's been one of the best bind raises in Challengers for the longest time now. Crazy to see him, of all people, pick up this mantle of the new meta sooner than everyone else. But to that same regard, Ali going for the comfort pick of the Astra instead of the meta pick of the Brim, also really fun to see. It shows the confidence that Winthrop, again, have walking into this.
Yeah, love that little timing play for Winthrop. So we see that there's some utility tossed over through stance. We don't see the execute, so we just try to teamwork it out, and then they immediately retract back into sight and catch Sim out. It's a really good smoke placement on that Nebula as well. Ollie's doing a nice job, again, just kind of controlling the tempo, the pace that TSM can play at. Flashes, stun, aftershock, all being tossed in. Right click, not fully gonna land as TSM are able to take this now for 3 straight eliminations, leaving Flare by himself. The Savo trying to get a little bit of damage, if not kill off more time for him to rotate through hookah, but this is a very difficult 1v3 now, especially with the post plant set up behind the box. And yeah, you can kind of feel the stress right now that Flare has. That little jump peek for recoil will confirm that he's also playing inside of hookah. And this would have to be something Reddit-worthy for the 1v3.
Terrific timing from TSM. 7, of course, the majority holder of what is this execution in the pistol round. So good to see him follow through and pick up quite a bit in the kill feed. But so much more fielding out that had to be done beforehand, and it looked like Winthrop University were looking to get a little proactive on top of it. I'm wondering how brave they'll get walking down sand and short these next couple rounds at least. See what they can think they can get away with after walking away with that first map. I doubt it'll be much. I think TSM have a full mental reset going into this map, and everybody, I mean, everybody's been keyed into a map like this for centuries.
Well, disaster averted for TSM of the opening pistol round, and now has them feeling pretty comfortable with Guardians, Outlaws, 1 Phantom, Sheriff upgrade move. Yeah, trying to be a little bit of a hero there with one of the 3 Sheriffs that have been purchased here for Winthrop. Doesn't really work out, though. Just a little bit of damage on Devora. And now TSM really still trying to feel things out, making sure there's no immediate pressure in through shower. There's also no push-up in through mid. This timing is going to be interesting, though. Recoil will drop. But Gumon and the rest of TSM are able to find some sort of entry in toward B. Salvo with the fault line just to make sure no one's playing from behind the box. And Nasi is in a world of trouble here. Or is he? Hello? Follow-up from 7 is good. And yeah, okay. I was about to say,
yeah,
Nasi, the one place you think everyone's going to check inside of the container, still able to get a right click off. Flare, of course, knows that Bor's playing inside the corner, but doesn't look to his right before he crosses the street. TSM will secure the anti-eco.
Yeah, continuously moments of panic coming from this TSM dugout here. Really having to just reset and reset and reset and just kind of get a grip on the round over and over again. That wear and tear was what caused their demise on Pearl. And so if Winthrop University, I mean, if they keep trying to get ahead of the conversation and keep getting in their faces, as long as they're able to connect, I don't see an issue with them, you know, continuing to try and go for ISOs and early reads.
Yeah.
It's just, I would love to see them, you know, come up with a little more connection than what they've been getting so far. Of course, after the bonus round, that'll be, you know, we'll see that fully come to fruition.
And this is a round that is less than comfortable in overall weaponry, as Winthrop, again, with those Sheriff purchases, really can't go into a full gun round here. And uh-oh, this is not looking good to start. Winthrop dropping the first 2 members on this pinch through mid. Moobs is trying to stay alive, only has the Judge and a Classic to work. Nasi trying to help on his cross, but is a little bit late to the party. Follow-up shots off the Guardian, though, not going to be clean, so not done yet, especially if Sim tries to chail this and just kind of crouches right underneath the aim of Nasi. So just down to Ali. Classic Outlaw to work with for now. Weapon in front of him, though. That should be, I imagine, a preference, and it is.
No doubt.
Deletes the barrier mesh. Fault line comes through. There is no immediate challenge, though. TSM just playing to kill off the clock. And Ali says, I'll just take the weapon and get out of here.
Really terrific work, once again, done by TSM. They really know how to flush out a short, and they're gonna start flexing that whenever the chips are down. Now, certainly, they are not. 7 also so close to a rolling thunder already. I'm amazed by how well he's been able to just working on himself rather than enable others with these fault lines.
Yeah.
Been playing a little closer with the team lately on these XX, and I really admire it.
Winthrop on the other side, though, after the opening spree from Infiltrator and Nasi, are also close to Dimensional Drift and a Nightfall, though. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But the bigger news is the bonus is secured. So major advantage here early, especially in the economy department for TSM. Whereas for Winthrop, they are going to be limping, not just into this round, but depending on how this goes, they could be limping into the next because of the half-buy situation that have come through. Infiltrator, the hero rifle member, has dropped. Flair looking to still try to force this battle. Fault line, though, making a mess of it. Sim trying to follow up as fast as humanly possible. Paint shells in the corner by the bench, and that is perfect breakdown with the Sky Smokes from the Brimstone being played. TSM comfortable as they find another Elim back over towards U-Haul.
When it comes to hero rifle defenses, Infiltrator prefers to get it over with, and this round is no different. I mean, taking that opportunity, it's not really a sense of when you do it, it's just, you know, how much you get out of it, so. I appreciate the proactivity that unfortunately Winthrop will be unable to work off of here. He can get some occupancy back, go for a couple exits. Nasi does have a very clean angle it'll hold on to for just a moment to grab this rifle for free and make sure no one else tries to pile in on it, but that was a good excuse for TSM to do the rest of the damage. Takes a second, but there you have it. Probably just, yeah, gonna stick around and see what he can get away with, but that's another great round taken out by TSM, just continuing to punish, of course. Gun diff makes it a whole lot easier this round because Winthrop sort of came to them, but they've been doing that in every respect anyway, so we'll see if they decide to take a step back on this defense and go for more of a retake-heavy push here with the Teho Yoru power that they've got.
The issue, I think, with this for Winthrop, you know, you can play reactionary off of the Nightfall and then retake with the Dimensional Drift, but it's going to come at the cost of giving away both Ultimate Orbs, which actually gives major advantages to TSM with the Rolling Thunder already at the ready. And you're close to an Armageddon, I believe, was the other thing that was like only one away. I think a Showstopper's also pretty darn close. Yeah, Boris just one off from the Armageddon, and yeah, the Showstopper's also pretty darn close to being earned for Sim. So you don't want to just give away control of these orbs for free. It's huge advantages for TSM, but the problem is Ali's already found through Hookah, and map control is steeply going to go the way of TSM again.
And they can lean on recoil as heavily or lightly as they want to. A lot less pressure on him to find something now. And anytime they've sent him out to find something on Pearl, he unfortunately didn't have as much confidence as he normally has. Really lit up that map last time around. But here in playoffs, he'll continue to play a little more patiently and actually go for the full-on flank watch against Nasi, who will reveal himself. Recoil takes that down.
Well, nade to the backside of the site. Have TSM not fully being able to control deep. Rolling Thunder going to be called here, and this is going to be the push out from Sim, but he's stuck behind a barrier mesh. We're able to find one though on the cross. Infiltrator trying to get out with the Dimensional Drift. Flair though, as he's shut down. Infiltrator, yeah. You're just hoping and praying you can find something. Good little pop flash over the stacked boxes to allow for one, but no more utility available. How do you get the clearance over through U-Haul? And I just don't know if you do. Armageddon going to make sure that this post plant stays safe. Now the clock becomes an issue, and Infiltrator will try to force the gunfight and fall. 5-0 start for TSM, very comfortable.
God, but even then, Infiltrator, just as an individual, is just so special to watch. Just immediately sensing out that Sim can get choked up upon that flash and being able to find that opening kill, and then pressuring on top of that spike so much heavier than you see so many other players when it comes to that truck hold. He was really aware of everything going into that 1v2 and gave it his all. And that's how he approaches everything. He knows he has to kind of just put all of his weight behind that, you know, whatever foot he's kicking down the door with, and he knows the rest of the team is going to be right behind him. Unfortunately, that's not the case if you're able to catch Nasi halfway through. And TSM has just done a great job of finding these chokeholds and spinning them back their way.
All right, see what's next here. Zali's going to find first blood actually off the map through mid. Nasi also following up, so okay. You want to try to find a lifeline, this is a great way to do it. And what would be, I don't know if they actually get qualification for the Thrifty here with the purchases, but call it what it is. This would be a Thrifty round. So TSM in a little bit of trouble here early. And I don't even know how you reclaim the map right now. I mean, you have to wait for fault lines, essentially. You've got at least the ability to pop the Sky Smokes, but nope, can't do that when your Brim is down. So pretty anticlimactic round here, all things told, as Winthrop find the opening eliminations, and now it's just down to a 4v2.
Yeah, Winthrop have no real reason to re-up on this, especially now that they know that Seven is potentially no longer by himself down lane. But of course, it's Infiltrator, so in he goes. Or it takes him down, so 2v3 now, as TSM will go for the entry. Ali gonna hold back and wait for the rest of this team to come through due to the gun dip that still persists. Gravnet on the site thrown in. And TSM still extended to make sure that they can defer off of that. Seven just really trying to make some connection with this outlaw he's holding on to. Great haunt though, and now TSM, it's crunch time.
Nightfall comes through first. Ollie, yep, just gonna try to track him into the corner. Oh, sloppy though. Follow-up is decent for the trade. Just down Devora. And he's been annihilated.
Nice.
Just stuck in a cocoon. So, yeah, good stuff for Winthrop here. This is going to allow them a really big opportunity to kind of reset the eco and have a chance at the round as the Thrifty still does come through.
Yeah, I'm happy with how they were able to get those picks. The problem is it was what they were already trying to do. So the question is, do they continue to try and, you know, go for these early punishes and see if TSM just continues to not check or continues to not win? Or do they understand when TSM is going to start respecting them a little bit more, which has to be soon, right? Now that they've gotten a round on the board here on the map.
You would think, but like, I just don't know if that's even a consideration for these guys right now. Showstopper Annihilation at the ready for TSM. Cosmic Divine for the defense of Winthrop. And honestly, a lot of these executes for TSM have come by way of just trying to find the first blood initially and then trying to flood forward. Sensor drones in place, at least initially for Winthrop, but not really going to stall out TSM too much. As this may just, if they find info, this may fall into Sky Strokes into a double blast pack Showstopper to clear out the backside of the site.
You can tell Sim is hungry for it, searching for that first bit of information. Again, so many Winthrop members have been more than happy to walk into LOSs as it is, so why not let this first bit of the round give yourself some room for that? In the exec, primarily through short 7, of course, again, the one to get the opening frag. Now the TP coming through from Infiltrator gives the impression that there's 2, but in reality, it's still an unoccupied B side. The impact is still felt by TSM's rotation. Sin the only one to fall. Recoil now all the way back too, but he can't find anything either. So actually a pretty wanted plant coming from TSM. Winthrop, they have everybody everywhere.
That has to be a win right there, flat out from Recoil. You've got the angle, you can hear the footsteps sprinting forward towards you. Now this contact at mid is everything. Okay, clean shots, takes down moves. 7 on the corner, good timing on this peak. We'll find 2 more, leaving it just down to Infiltrator for what would have to be a 1v3, and he's already committed into the site. Seeing it with the pressure on, Flash's fault line is going to be spent. Infiltrator just trying to get back around through elbow. He's actually going to get the info off the molly that Gamonda's still actually playing over towards Garden here, and will isolate for 1. He uses this as a chance to exit. No, instead tries to come back to the play. And 7 will tally on to 4 for the round, immediately getting back the Rolling Thunder.
Another fantastic round coming from 7. Opens up that first fight. And then somehow the second one too. I'm really amazed at his confidence in particular going into this round so far. I mean, wow. That was such a great turn. But other than that, I'm still, I mean, TSM, they have a boatload of options to pick from now for the rest of this half. They've kept things quite clean. I mean, A Short has barely been touched with a 10-foot
Yeah,
pole
true.
in the past couple rounds. You can really do whatever you want here. Winthrop, no real answer. And it seems like they're trying to come up with one way too early with this gun diff.
Yeah, just kind of have to make something happen, just trying to manifest something over through showers. Stim Beacon down, allows Recoil to kind of slide away from Infiltrator's potential double. In Nasi, oh, he's got just a little bit of real estate to work with. Stim trying to take the challenge, but a decent shutdown. Recoil stopping the flank from having to go over through Spices, and that should pretty much win the round here. 1v3 for Nasi. Tall ass to say it plainly, but ooh, sees the shoulder of 1. The question will be, where are the remainders, though?
The only one this round really able to make any sort of impact. Everyone else very quietly shut down. And so the streak continues here for TSM with, again, same level of creativity. No ults they had to spend even for that one. A lot of these in-between rounds have just been TSM sort of just waiting for Winthrop to initiate and then winning out because of that gun diff. Other times it's, again, waiting for that window to open themselves when somebody wanders into that sight line or goes for the aggressive TP. It's clear somebody from Winthrop is going to start itching before TSM does, and they've been able to use that to their advantage far too often.
Yeah, Nolly's in trouble here immediately, right off the rip at Sands. Yep. Infiltrator Now, there's the cross in the corner. Looking to find one. There's the shoulder check as Sim is already pushed deep in towards sight with the showstopper. Throws it blindly into Garden. Doesn't really affect Flare too much, but the trades are decent. And Winthrop have held this off, at least for now. Extra shots coming through as Moobs will lock down Hookah, and now it's just a rotation back through the teleporter today.
Sonic Sensor will again slow them down, and this is where Winthrop was excelling before on this defense. With the dimensional drift, they'll at least be able to scope out exactly where Vora is going to head back to post-plant, but Recoil still able to avoid this ultimate from Moobs. That is a total misread that Infiltrator should have scoped out, but even still Recoil able to re-peek it and find that.
I mean, oh, this is tough. You can see the consideration. Moobs is worried about something happening over through mid, but Infiltrator just kind of keeps wiggling forward, holding down the scope. The operator lands for 2, and Winthrop will catch a second round. Still not going to affect TSM too much in terms of the economy. Really, they're going to be able to purchase for the next handful of rounds in a row. Rolling Thunder stole at the ready. Armageddon stole at the ready. So an expensive round in terms of ultimate expenditure there for Winthrop. The only good news is that Infiltrator does take down 3 after getting out of the dimensional drift to allow them a chance to get at least a chance to get it back earned before this half comes to an end.
A lot of individual blunders in the meantime when it came to those ultimate executions. TSM wanted to turn this map into a little bit of a playground to really finalize this half and cement their chokehold on it, but Winthrop just now offered a lifeline with these ultimates in hand, and with way more patience on top of your own util move, holding down this sensor once he realizes how much power it's been holding on these rotates.
Well, once again, we're going to get Winthrop feeling feisty on the opening. TSM going to allow this to happen. Is there any sort of a check off this? No, that's a total miscue. Winthrop, again, just trying to play for timing on the play through B-Long. Completely shut down, and I just don't even know what you do from here on out if you're Winthrop to try to save this round. Maybe Nasi on the flank, but he will take down 1 to put a little bit of a sense of either urgency or immediate pause to TSM. And yeah, they're going to read that there's no way Nasi continues to play through this. So instead, it's clearance of Hookah, and everything goes Infiltrator's direction.
Don't know if they found him, though, on this operator in the cubby, and Sim on the push, doesn't expect it. How does he get back out? He's going to continue playing this as Winthrop continue to skirt on back. Nazi ready to play the Hookah. Infiltrator already inside on this, and the shorty in hand. That's good for 1. Now Holly with a judge of his own.
How it ends.
There's no way. There's no way they pull this off. Bora doesn't really find much damage there. Armageddon through the top of the window, and now it's just down to Bora. The pistol comes through, and the right click lands onto the head of Infiltrator. All around that seemed unplausible for Winthrop to pull off. They get a numbers advantage, but the problem is it's just shorties and judges remaining, and up top at the window through Hookah. They do not connect, and now Winthrop are back onto a broken bye.
Like piranhas. This stack of 10, this whole lobby is just seeing a potential kill and approaching it with such ferocity, such veracity. Winthrop, I mean, they're just heading straight to the sauce. They're taking the fight to them. And a lot of the time, granted, it's not working out here on Bind. TSM are able to win the close quarters. They're able to get behind. They've been able to predict most of these wraparounds to the point where the last one that actually does get a kill, hey, Flare, doesn't end up working too well for you.
I'm at a complete loss. This is another one of those maps that just feels so uncharacteristic for how these two teams have shown us
round before the switch.
their play styles in the last couple of either matches in particular for Winthrop or weeks for TSM. But we find ourselves on the last round of the half. Rolling Thunder still at the ready here for TSM, but that will be it unless someone can find a way to get this orbital strike. On the other side of things, Dimensional Drift is at the ready for Infiltrator, plus the Nightfall, plus the Armageddon. So good opportunity here for Winthrop to get a third, and I think just based on how this map has gone, they absolutely need to win this round.
No doubt this is a must-win for Winthrop if they want even a shred of confidence in this map. And unfortunately, with what they have in the bank, they're not exactly encouraged to get too far in front of the fight, but even still, Moves is getting encouraged here by Nasi, who also can't kill Sim. And it's just another total collapse on the defense here for Winthrop.
Yeah.
I'll handle this.
Dimensional Drift for Infiltrator, he is going to have to be a hero. He gets the read, the commitment's already on. trying to find some sort of deterrence on this play over through Garden as the Armageddon comes through. That pauses things for a moment, but avoiding a lot of this is TSM, or are they? Thought for a second they were going to read that Infiltrator was still playing behind B Long, but not necessarily the case, and now he's got a bit of a pinch set up, and he's still finding headshots. Decoy comes through, but not going to be able to find the fourth elimination. Orbital Striker immediately queued in. Ali, does he have the shot to lock things up? Sure does. Now to the right click, and Ali saves the day. It's a 2v5 between Ali and Infiltrator. Winthrop get the third, the must-win round here at the end of the half.
Unbelievable ultimate by Infiltrator. The confidence to just retain your position in long to take the fight back up more easily on top of just one flash, and then he's able to find both of the kills off of it. That's the kind of proactivity, that's the kind of blasphemous proactivity you're searching for when it comes to Infiltrator, and he does it all by himself above all else. Unbelievable work to be able to get that round back after, again, it seems like other players were just throwing themselves at the issue with not a lot of regard for themselves or the team in general. It felt so disconnected, and honestly, Winthrop could easily have gotten 5 on the board here if not for all of that, excitement. But here we are, 3-9. They now have the attack. TSM, still a myriad of answers they can give to this to take us to map 3.
And the other thing about this is TSM have not lost a pistol yet, and the pistol and the follow-up is exactly what Winthrop need to get back into this game. It's just based on how things have gone, you don't feel great about their chances at being able to just win out gun rounds, being down 11-3. So, a lot of pressure here. TSM delayed on the stealth drone. That actually works out pretty decently, but Gamal can only find one. Follow-up off the classic a little bit deeper. Not necessarily all the way there. Infiltrator still alive with Ali, and they know exactly where Gamad is playing. And yeah, follow-up from Ali is also good as Recoil tries to find the peak deeper in the sight. So again, must win round 12, must win pistol, both coming true here for Winthrop.
About as scrappy as you can get, but it's Winthrop that has better timing on top of those nebulas that, again, Ali just feels so bloody comfortable throwing down, and Winthrop as a whole feels so much more comfortable working around as opposed to the Brim Smokes on this map. I'm really appreciating how quickly Ali is getting as well in between placing stars and actually utilizing them. He's as active as an Astra as they've come. On the defense in particular as well, funnily enough. He's just been placing nebulas on his own swings. It's been crazy to watch.
Where are you?
Well, quick execute here, down short. Defense nowhere to be found. Moves, that'll work. Stop the teleport play. And a lot of this retake is going to have to be based on holding Moobs' attention and getting this long flank through caves. Sim is here, but Moobs, he had the read, but doesn't have the reload. I'll be coming back to the play. Okay, good shutdown. And then the grab net behind this. Try to be a deterrent, but doesn't work out. Leaving now 7 in Recoil by themselves, and now it's just Recoil, and now it's just nobody. 9-5 to count. Anti-Eco comes through, and this bonus will have a Vandal, an Outlaw, and a Bulldog.
Solid damage control, and again, fantastic game sense from Winthrop to read that wraparound just as soon as it was about to be procced. Clearly, they're still tuned in to how the flow of this will go, and they've been able to steal away that pistol. Momentum will carry following this round, of course. We'll see what kind of answers TSM has in the more passive play, but appreciate them trying to get in front of this fight as heavily as Winthrop did when they were down.
Well,
0
TSM,
early challenges.
Yeah, I was going to say, just kind of holding back here and playing for contact with the salvo out. Looking for a salvo and fault line combination. First blood's good for Kavan, and that is enough to completely shut down the playthrough be long. Barrier mesh here at Showers is also a little bit of an issue if there's going to be any sort of a peek in towards sight, but Nasi's still going to try to work his way forward, clearing off a couple of tough angles already, and actually catches one. Sim will drop, and now Recoil's in a little bit of trouble. There's the grab net trying to come through. Recoil with one of his own as the Haunt will lock him into place, but doesn't make a difference. Recoil is still good for the win, and now help is on the way. Moves though. One of the shutdowns, barrier mesh deeper, and has a chance, and whoa, through the wall, connects onto another, leaving 7 by himself inside the site waiting for help.
That's the key word here, is by himself. Again, TSM's members continuously taking fights on a solo level when there are friends available to help you. And there's time that you can let your friends get to you as well. But here you can't risk the stack, of course. 7 has to let Vora hold down to B side if Winthrop decide to change course, which they don't. They get the kill, so now it's 1v2 walking onto site. And Vora is called out already by the stealth drone.
All missiles
10
away.
seconds left.
Well, the salvo gives enough delay to give an opportunity at this, and the spam shots are really close. That would have won the round if he finds that elimination, but not the case. So now decision time here in the 1v2 with no utility. Are you going to give this a go? Good information here to Ali, though, and a good prediction on the final swing out, but Flair is right there just before Vora can lock down the shots, and Winthrop putting together a really solid start to this offense. Exactly what they need to get back in this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, continuing to look nice and clean. And TSM's members not really coalescing as much as they need to be here on the defense. But that's one of the glaring weaknesses we've seen on the few times we've seen TSM play bind so far this this tournament is that they kind of got called out on individual levels, and before they really were able to go for the set plays once they all come back together after they're able to take it to a 5v4. If you're able to kind of stick a wrench in that before it gets going, you're able to continue, again, that slowdown that made Winthrop look so terrifying over on Pearl. And, I mean, that's how Rankers beat TSM most recently here on Bind. That's where I imagine Winthrop is getting most of their game plan walking into now, funnily enough, despite the fact that Rankers play like absolutely no one. But TSM is favoring that play style a little bit, letting themselves, you know, take that responsibility, having that, yeah, I'm him mentality, even still to a degree. And, you know, I admire some of the hero plays that are coming out of it, but it's not nearly enough for TSM to warrant cashing it in this often.
Well, major advantages for Winthrop after the bonus comes through. Also, the ultimate economy is looking pretty solid on top of that for some ults that you really want. So, could be a potential for this. Wow, that is a deep fault line, and Nasi is going to recognize that hookah may be an issue for us, but TSM, all they do is throw out the fault line, and they're going to force Winthrop to have to spend some utility to re-clear out both B-Long, and if they want to peek into hookah, they're going to have to spend something for that too.
Drone does all the deadlifting down lane, and the Prowler will confirm Vora's presence. So you've already moved the line already all the way up to where these two initiators are holding it, and you've only had to use one piece of initiator utility each. Nasi off. The second one is going to push in, and Vora somehow holds the line. Now, how dryly do you peek this other line from Winthrop, or do you change course entirely?
Well, the problem is hookah's not an option anymore, especially knowing that you've gotten a weapon selection for Vora to pick up. That, or they're just going to have to re-clear it again and just put the weapon out of commission immediately, which looks like that very well may be the case. I mean, you could GravNet this. They're still holding it a quarter before. Oh, just a one-tap comes out. They try to combine with a salvo, and they eventually get the kill that they want, but it comes at a very steep cost. 7 on the cross. Not fooled by the decoy.
30 seconds
Infiltrator
left.
still holding, but the smoke blocking off the angle. 7 can still hang. TSM trying to rotate over. The orbital strike spent here for TSM to stop the plant. The big question is, how does 7 utilize this position on elbow? Oh, and he's going to find elimination and stay safe from the trade. Absolutely massive here for TSM. The follow-up looking good. Shorty works out for the Infiltrator, but he's running out of time. Has to find these kills and has to find them quickly. Trying to play for the plant. Recoil will find him for the easy follow-up, and it's a thrifty for TSM to get to double digits.
Certainly the round you're looking for, and once again, it's 7 that is the fulcrum of it. Of course, GMD providing him with the timing of that ultimate to let the smoke dissipate at the perfect time for 7 to be able to go for that approach, but to be able to get back out on top of that and reset the fight for your favor, that is insane work. Infiltrator, unfortunately, no time left on top. And from there, TSM had enough to work with. Does that protrude for 3 more rounds, or does Winthrop have their finger on the pulse? TSM already get Nancy down shower. They'll get netted, but not killed.
Yeah, Sim, big connection on the moves. That actually shuts down the formidability of this potential post plant. And yeah, I think Winthrop has to give this up with not having the ability to toss on a barrier or a GravNet. This post plant becomes very vulnerable. Nightfall still gonna be committed. On the cross though, recoil not affected. Trades are good, though. At least for Winthrop to keep the play alive. Just comes down to what happens next to this next point of contact. And even though Sim loses his angle, Lamont is right there with him. Or through U-Haul. Not necessarily clean, but still effective. And TSM will hold down the A site.
Absolutely everywhere that round. Felt like Winthrop didn't have a lick of proper coverage for crossfires when approaching there. And a lot of that, of course, does have to do with the fact that Moves was already dead. So all you could really do is throw that Nightfall in and then check the rest of those corners. But yet again, TSM get ahead of it and open that frag first. Well timed by Recoil to be able to get that first and just, again, slow them down just a hair. Force that advantage to sink in heavier, and now you carry that into the economy to make this a potential easy 12-6.
Yeah, not looking positive here for Winthrop. Stealth drone right down short. That gets queued up. Sim has to drop his position topside truck. Molly to block off showers as smoke start to come on through. Sim still looking for contact, but honestly, Winthrop have gotten in a pretty decent spot here. There's the flash. If Infiltrator can find this elimination, that would be massive. Sim still trying to hold on, but the kill comes through. That's now a scope picked up. Can Infiltrator use that? Armageddon, though, off. Flare's caught completely.
Spike down.
Suppressed, stunned up, nowhere to go. Oh, nice snap from Gamon. Still playing inside the site. We'll line up two more. And it's all down to Infiltrator. No scope connects for the first, but nothing beyond that. TSM get to map point.
Match
Definitely a
point.
more fun round from TSM that time around, and only having to spend the one ultimate on it just for, again, that bit of damage control means dividends against Winthrop, who chose to let Ollie's ult fly this round. Really limits your options for exec timing here. Of course, that Armageddon's still available to flood away at least half of a site, but from there, it really doesn't seem like there's that overarching control we were talking about coming into this map from Winthrop University. TSM, they look really leveled up at this point, ready to take it to map 3.
Could be there pretty quickly. Annihilation immediately. Recoil is able to gouge Nasi, but this Armageddon puts a little bit of concern. Recoil just barely able to get out of there. And that's another elimination to follow up behind the play as well. So, yeah, this is just complete trap net down. TSM just completely stormed through the teleporter and find every single elimination. So now it's just down to Ollie, no spike to play with. And, well, let's start talking about Haven, it feels like.
Yeah, if you weren't already comfortable, if these teams weren't already comfortable, then go ahead and let that recliner go and grab some popcorn. Because at this point, I think both these teams have kind of reeled themselves back in, gotten those reins attached to the horse heads, and made sure that no one gets too big for their britches. We got a map 3 on the horizon here from two teams that have definitely looked better, but definitely don't look like they're on the road to becoming any worse.
Yeah, true. But all things told, that was very comfortable for TSM. So kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another when it comes down to the map selections, because so far both teams have looked pretty darn good on their map choices. TSM a little bit sloppier in map number 1 than I think we would have expected, but no such instance here on their selection of Bind. So Haven will be what has us kind of foaming at the mouth here for map number 3. Not the worst map really necessarily when it comes for Winthrop. So again, talking about how this upper bracket round 1 series has often led to upset potential, definitely feels like it's still on the table. But we're going to take a little bit of a step away, get ourselves a break, and set things back up for map number 3 at the desk when we come back.
Oh, it's a big difference, because back in the day, I could say like 2-3 years ago, franchising I don't think was around, or was like in its just beginning times. So like lots of teams were still investing their money. They had lots of academy teams. The competition was a lot, like, I'd say more fierce. Like in my group stages back then, like I was going against either signed teams or academy teams. I had like really passionate players, people that were still playing. A lot that have quit now. That's the big difference now is like I don't see half of these tournaments being like being played. A lot of teams are pulled out, and this tier 2 scene is kind of like the top of our talent. Instead of playing in all these other tournaments, we're only really seen in like these VCLs or these tier 2 tournaments. And I think that's the biggest difference, is the competition is more not scarce, but it's more like tightly knit. Like in these teams, like these 16 teams are like where all of tier 2 has ended up over the course of a couple of years. And that's the biggest difference I see. I don't think it was like that big of a difference. I played a lot of ranked for years. I competed before in a team environment. So like you kind of just need to understand how to work your role and how to work around other people. And if you have that down, you're like able to take criticism and learn. I think it's actually not very difficult. It's just you just gotta drop the ego and grind. You know what I mean? You just gotta try and work around your teammates and try and work together. You're a team. No one's against each other. And I think with how my personality is, I think I meshed into most teams pretty well. And you know, these guys liked me. They liked what I bring to the team. And I think it's not too difficult if you know what I mean. If you just mesh well in any team, it's pretty easy to fit in. No, it's like they're a core 3 for like a good reason. Like Gimon keeps the energy. He's like, I don't want to say older, but he's like the big brother of the team. And then Seven and Sim are like, you know what I mean, like initiator and duelist, right? They have that chemistry they built over a long time, right? It's like a good core 3 to have. You have the guy who like keeps everyone in check and balances emotions, and then the 2 people that are just insane fraggers mechanically. Like these are like the tier 2 gatekeepers, as some people would say. They're insane mechanically, and they're insanely good like when combined together, right? They can just open up rounds together easily, right? And I think they're a core for like a very good reason, because like why would you give up these players, right? These players are literally like insane, and they work together so well, so there's no point of getting rid of them, right?